Earlier, or in the last recording, uh, doing a post Spurs game report here. Spurs won 108 to 101 against the Phoenix Suns. I did predict a 98-101 victory, so I was off by 10 points. You know, it happens. Obviously, things went a little differently this time for the Spurs. Ginobili was the key to the Spurs victory in Game 3. Oddly enough, this only came after Ginobili was fouled inadvertently by, I believe, Leandro Barbosa, or it might have been Sean Marion, across the face. He got a whelp under his eye, and he got pretty pissed off and then went on to score 10 points in the next 2 minutes. Completely changed the face of the series, the tempo, and everything else. Duncan was stellar again with 33 points, 19 rebounds, 5 offensive, 12 of 19 shooting, 9 of 14 free throws. Could be a little better, but, I mean, can't really ask much more of Tim. Tony is still trying to find himself after his stellar first game. He had 16 points, 4 rebounds, 5 assists. Again, we're not getting a whole lot out of the center position. Ellison played 7 minutes, had 4 points, 3 turnovers, 1 rebound. And Roberto played 10 minutes for 2 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists, and a steal. I guess against a small team like the Suns, it doesn't really matter how poorly our center position does, but I really would like to see a little more out of that. Sean Marion, aka the Matrix, finally got off in this game with 4 blocks, 2 steals, 26 points, 7 rebounds, 2 turnovers. The much vaulted Kurt Thomas defense on Tim Duncan. Where was it? Duncan had 33 points. He only missed 7 shots and had 19 rebounds. Kurt Thomas played 36 minutes. Tim Duncan played 41. You want to bet that all those 36 minutes of Kurt Thomas's playtime was assigned to Tim Duncan? Yes, it was. Did not make a difference. The other contributing factor to the game is that Steve Nash literally had one of his worst playoff performances in his career. He shot 6 of 17, had no points in the first half. Made up for it, had 16 overall and 11 assists, 8 rebounds. But by then it was too much. He had 5 turnovers as well. He had more turnovers than points at the half, obviously. And so that's not going to get it done for the Suns. One thing I really wanted to touch on was that prior to this series and for the last few years, the Spurs have been called a soft team with no heart. Their success has been generally attributed to their efficiency, their simplified offense, their grinding defense, but not to their character or their passion. They've always been seen as toilet paper, really. What I think is really funny is that after Game 2, where Bowen supposedly stepped or tried to step on Stoudemire's ankle, really, who would blame him if he did? Stoudemire is one of the most obnoxious players in the NBA. Do I have to recall anyone's memory on the whole push-up little incident that he had a few years back? This guy's more full of himself than a Republican in an election here, right? But the funny thing is that everyone's crying foul. We've got we've got D'Antoni calling the Spurs a dirty team. We've got Stoudemire calling them the dirtiest team in the NBA. We have commentators questioning the character of the Spurs. I find this kind of amusing. It's like, well, you can't be both, right? You can't be toilet paper soft, wrapped in French wrapping, and then at the same time be the next coming of Karl Malone or the Bad Boys of Detroit circa 1989. Pick your poison. It's one or the other. If you're going to make fun of the Spurs, make fun of the Spurs by all means, please. This is the team that had fuchsia pink as their primary team color for well over a decade. So, by all means, make fun of the Spurs. But, what are you going to do? Are they soft? Are they dirty? They can't be dirty and soft. That's like used toilet paper. Nobody wants that. The funny thing is, it's just playoff basketball at the end of the day. Does anyone remember the mid-90s series between the Knicks and the Heat? Or the Bulls and the Knicks? Or the Spurs and the Jazz? Or, even some of the more recent series, like the Pistons versus the Bulls, or Pistons. Man, the East is pretty weak. I can't even remember who they're playing. Pistons Heat. I mean, it's the playoffs. This is the playoffs, man. That's how it rolls in the playoffs. Things get a little bit more tough. That's why defense wins championships, and running up and down the court, throwing the ball as fast as you can, as high as you can, trying to lob for alley-oops and dunks is never going to win a championship. It has never happened. It's not going to happen. Defense wins championships. Toughness wins championships. Spurs know this. Suns are finding this out, and they can't hang with it. That's okay. I mean, it's not a big deal. What the Suns need to do is they need to play their game. They need to play up tempo. They need to run the gym. They need to run the Spurs out of the gym. Push the ball. Run alley-oops. Shoot threes in transition. Don't let the Spurs get back on D. Don't give them a chance to do that. That's their only chance of winning. And they can win that way. It's like they keep forgetting, but it's too late. Now they're bickering at the officials. D'Antoni's worried about the Spurs being a dirty team, and the Spurs are in their head. They're changing the tempo of the game. They're playing their game. The Spurs are playing the slow beat 'em up Spurs basketball that they've always done, and the Suns are getting frustrated, and now they're playing right into the hands of the Spurs. They're talking about. D'Antoni said that, well, if that's how they're going to play, then we're going to have to. We're not the only team that can play that way, or they're not the only team that can play that way. Well, okay, D'Antoni, you're right. You guys can play that way too. You can play rough and tough and tumble and do dirty little tricks, but you're not as good at it as the Spurs are. At the end of the day, you haven't had as much practice. So by all means, play the Spurs game. You're gonna lose. For tomorrow's game, I predict a Spurs victory. I guess the series have been running kind of high, so I'm going to go with 112 to 103 Spurs victory and a 3-1 series lead. Now, that being said, depending on how tomorrow's game goes, I actually do peg the Suns winning game 5. But we'll have to see how that goes tomorrow, and I'll get back to you guys. So, again, have a happy Mother's Day, and this is Al. It's been a hoot, and I'm out.